Well, good afternoon, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and get us started. Thanks, everybody, for coming. I know I've been in contact either in person or via email or phone with most everyone here, so that's wonderful. My name is Cara Ebe Cook, and I am the admissions director here at VIMSIA, VI Montessori School and Peter Gruber International Academy. Thanks for being with us. I did, because we are such a small group, this is nice, we can really have a meaningful and probably intimate discussion. So I just kind of want to touch base so everybody knows who's here. So from a prospective family side, we have Tristan's family here, Lilibet Foster, Tristan Pessler. We've got London's family here, and no worries if you can't do video. Hey, Paige. We have Jackson's family. Is that you, Katie? I think that's you. And we have Caleb. I think we have Caleb's mom here on the iPhone, Miss Janae. And then the Blake family as well. So really nice to see you guys. Thanks for being here. I'm going to go ahead and introduce our team. We have Cyrene Stocking, one of our toddler teachers. We have Diana Woods, our other toddler teacher. We have Camila Serrano, who is an assistant in our toddler environment. And then, of course, we have Miss Heather McCabe, who's our Montessori director, joining us. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Ms. Woods, who I think is going to provide kind of an overview, and we'll go from there. You're muted, Ms. Woods. We can't hear you. Diana, we can't. You're muted. We can't hear you. I'll unmute you. Let's see if that works.
The microphone.
Okay, we can hear you now. Sorry, can you start?
I'll just get closer. Welcome. And our toddler program began in 1997. And so I guess this is our 22nd, 23rd year of doing the program. We are licensed by the Department of Human Services and accredited by the Middle States Association of Schools. We have 2 toddler classes, and I see Lilibet was here to observe, and I'm just trying to recognize other faces. I'm not sure, forgive me if I forget. So we have the 2 classrooms, each with a toddler teacher, either Ms. Stocking or myself, and our assistants, who we value highly for their Spanish, their endurance, and for being our right hand people in the classroom. Ms. Stocking will give you an actual tour of the classroom after I finish speaking. We want our classrooms to be inviting, to welcome your children and entice them into exploration, because as they explore, they will begin to learn. We depend on having a daily routine, which isn't set in stone, but it's there broadly overall. The adults watch the clock, but for the children, we follow the child. And having that daily routine, like from arrival and going to the bathroom, wash hands, what time, snack time, playtime, lunchtime, nap time. You know how important routines are to small children, and that helps us to reinforce expectations that we have in the classroom and boundaries, things that they can or cannot do. And your child, remember that your child needs to learn to begin to develop a sense of trust, and they learn that through the routine of their day. You will find that at home, and we follow this at school. It's a very important part of their development at this stage. They give security and predictability to the children's lives. And through that, the children can learn to take on other things once they have that secure core inside them. So what are our goals in the toddler program? Well, first of all, we want your child to have a wonderful foundation at our school as a first learning experience at a school. We want your child to acquire language or acquire more language if they already have some language. In our classrooms, we speak English and Spanish. Ms. Stocking and I both speak English, and our assistants, they speak Spanish. And through that, the children have the benefit of learning both languages. We also want your child to be able to develop social and emotional skills, learning to be part of a small group that's larger than the family group, but still a small group, and to learn their manners, to learn how to coexist. That isn't easy, as you can imagine, but they do get the hang of it. And also we like to offer our children plenty of opportunity to move, because as you know, toddlers are unable to keep still. They're always on the move. And we incorporate movement into all the activities in our classroom and channel that energy in meaningful ways. And by movement, not only do I mean gross and fine motor skills like playing skills, climbing, jumping, sliding, all those kind of things, but be able to move around the classroom, negotiate furniture. But also in that comes very important self-help skills such as dressing and undressing and toileting, which are specialized movement skills. It's very important that the children have time to play and use up their energy. So we like to go for campus walks. We'll go play on the playground. We'll just get out and feel that fresh air. And the children have the opportunity to take in a lot of sensory experiences during these outdoor activities and process them in their way. And this helps to contribute to the growth in their coordination skills. Let me just turn the page here in the wind. Oh. When we invite your child to come to interview, and I don't know exactly how we're going to do this year, this year with the coronavirus, but one of the things that we're looking for is that your child is pretty steady on their feet and also has acquired some receptive language, meaning that they can listen and follow a simple direction. Our environments are prepared for your children. They allow freedom of movement, freedom of choice, and freedom of expression within certain limits, which we'll come to at another time. And the adults, we're not teachers in there, we're guides, we're role models, just like you are at home as parents. And you, the parents, are the child's first teachers. We observe your child, we treat each child as an individual, and we follow their lead. If they're really interested in turning on and off that tap, or they see a sponge and want to wipe with it, then we will take that moment and make that a teachable moment. I'd just like to say that when small children come into the program, it's going to be, some children just take off and they're fine. Other children may be a little hesitant. It's very different being part of a group of 10 children instead of being center stage in your family. And that does take some adjustment. However, in time and feeling comfortable, feeling that sense of security, your child will begin to think of the needs of others. Will learn how to help someone who is sad or hurt, will learn how to take turns. I don't want to call it sharing because I don't know that it's sharing, it's taking turns. They will learn to learn manners, like greeting one another. They will learn to be kind, helpful. They will learn to be creative. All little children are creative. They'll be playful. They'll learn to explore, to wonder, to think, to sing, to dance, to make friends. Sometimes those friendships started in the toddler years last for a long time. And they'll learn how to adapt to new situations, just to mention a few things. We remember that your child is a unique human being and that your child's development is unique to him or her. And we want your toddler to have the opportunity in our school to learn to be confident and respectful and compassionate, to learn to concentrate with joy on something they enjoy doing, and to develop a lifelong love of learning. We foster independence in our classroom. You'll hear us use that word a lot. And we hope that your children will develop, or we give them the tools to develop into kind, respectful future citizens of the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wood.
You're
So
welcome.
we've designed a time towards the end of this program for Q&A, but certainly if anyone has any questions right now, directed at what Ms. Wood just shared, you can pose them. Also feel free to put any questions into the chat box. If you can do that from your device, and we'll be sure to get to them that way. So before we move on to Ms. Stocking, does anybody have any questions right now?
I've reduced you to silence.
All right, Ms. Stocking, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you, Ms. Woods, Ms. Ebicook. I'm very excited to see new faces and potential families that hopefully will be joining us very soon. I am tasked to show you a virtual tour of our classroom. Since usually we will have you here for an open house so you can see the kids in action. But don't worry, I put together some videos of our children in action. So first I'll show you our environment, and then you get to see them in action even if we're not here today. So our environment is very carefully designed to meet the needs of your toddlers. It is a space that is lovingly prepared to best facilitate, like Ms. Wood said, the maximum independent learning and exploration that at this age, that is just their design. That's just what they love to do, learn and explore. You'll notice our classrooms have natural light, low shelves, small furniture, so that, again, the independence that, like Ms. Wood said, you'll always hear from us. Your child will be able to easily access their desired activities and enjoy their time in the classroom. So I hope you all, I'm gonna share my screen and share you a little virtual tour of our environment. You'll see we'll have a reading corner, a space for language shelves. We also have shelves for manipulatives to practice fine motor skills. We have early math activities and practical life activities. This includes the dressing frames to help them learn about taking care of self and just doing different things like sweeping and transferring and wiping. A big part of our practical life is the mirroring of the home environment. You'll see here our table settings. We use real materials for food preparation, knives. We have our dishwashing station, our hand washing station, our cloth washing station, and a lot more practical life activities. And also our music and art environment. And for the much more fun stuff, I'll share you again. Now we're gonna move on to a video of our kids in our environment. Oh, I think this is one of our students learning to do flower arranging. I'm very proud to say this was just the second time I presented this lesson to her. And she's making our flower arrangement for the classroom. And next to her is our one of our youngest students during this time. She was just 18 months, and she's learning from Claire, who was older, and she's learning through observing her, what she's doing during that time. Here's Isla in Miss Wood's class doing table scrubbing. See, these are real life activities that at the early age they are learning to do. If you notice your little toddlers, they love to copy what you're doing. They love to do the real things. If you give them a fake keys, they want your real keys for your car. If you give them a fake phone, they want your real phone. They want the real life activities, so they feel the sense of being a part of your family, a part of your environment. This is another favorite activity in our classroom. The watering of the plants, gardening. Here you see them doing table setting for a snack time. We use real plates and real cups. This is learning to exist in an environment, in a community with others. They're setting the table for everybody in the classroom. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you saw a little bit of what our environment looks like. Like in our previous normal, we will have you here to observe and see this in person. So I thought that would be a little bit of like have you observe our environment, even if we're all on Zoom. Thank you, Ms.
Thank you, Clarine.
Thank you so much, Ms. Stocking. Really incredible footage and videos, right, of the students and the things that they're able to accomplish in the environment that's presented to them. So thank you both for sharing. At this point, does anybody have questions based off of any of the pictures or the videos? And I'm certainly happy to open it up to questions. I don't know, Ms. McCabe, was there anything in particular that you wanted to share, or maybe just we'll tag team on questions? Cool. Anything from the group that's on your mind about the program? I am happy to talk in specific detail about the enrollment process, which I know many of you on the screen are in some varying stages of that. As far as the admissions and enrollment process goes, all of that will be through our online system, Open Apply, which is where you received the invite to this very meeting. So you're already one step in the right direction. And the guidance that we have for you at this time is just to work through all of those checklist items that you're seeing for your students. So there are some on-campus components that you're probably seeing there. Tour, which certainly your time here with me today, can work toward taking the place of that. The observation, which following up to this video, afterward I'm going to be sharing some links to some specific lessons and other things that happen in the classroom, so you kind of get a better idea of the instruction and are able to observe in that way. And then the interview, which as Ms. Woods alluded to, is something that we're still kind of working through exactly how those logistics would work. Now, whether or not we were in, this time of social distancing and COVID or not, as far as the toddler program goes, the teachers like to meet with and interview the students as close to the age or as close to the time that they would actually enter the environment, because as to Ms. Wood's point, they want to see the students being steady on their feet, able to kind of, track you and follow some direction. So we, in a normal world, might not interview some of your children until August anyway. But we as a team are kind of working through some maybe potential alternatives and things that we can do to make sure that everyone's process is complete as we get some more information and as you complete your application. So let me know if there's any questions about how to move forward with the application portion. That's really my lane of this, but happy to open it to any questions that the group might have at this time. So I'm seeing, is there an expectation from the toddlers for meal times? Currently, London is a food thrower. She's 14 months. Ms. Stocking or Ms. Woods, would one of you maybe like to just speak to kind of the schedule for the day and snack and those students who stay with us later in the day?
I would be glad to answer that question. My screen is actually blank, so I can just hear you alone. But the expectations for meal times, we do expect that your child is able to feed him or herself, not necessarily with a utensil, with a spoon or a fork, but at least by with their fingers, and to be able to eat on their own and to be able to sit in a chair. We understand that at home you probably have a high chair. In our classroom, as you saw, the children do sit on chairs. That takes a little time for them to get used to the fact that they need to sit in one place to eat. And when a child first starts, we give it a little time for them to get used to the idea of this is where we eat in the classroom. If a child chooses to get up and leave the table, we will offer for them to come back and eat again. If they don't and they're more interested in that, then we will tell the child that we're going to put the food away, have them wash their hands, and then they can go and choose some work. When they're a little bit older, we do ask them to sit at the table. However, we kind of go with the way where the child is at for when they first arrive. I hope that helps you.
Thank you.
Okay.
We have another question from Ms. Blake. What time does the term start? So we do follow a pretty traditional academic calendar here at our school, with school starting in August and then ending in June. However, for our toddler and primary programs, when new students join us, they're kind of phased in throughout, you know, the start of the year or the school year in general, depending on the timing and depending on enrollment. So a toddler, for example, would get their own individual start date, and it would be a very structured phase in as far as how long they are invited to stay in the environment, and we kind of ramp that up based off if, you know, how long you wanted your child to be with us, whether that's until 11:30, 3:15, 4:30, or even as late as 5:30. So it really kind of depends. Students, currently we have 10 students per classroom, and once they turn 3, they transition out of toddler and into primary. So as those spaces open, new students join us. Does that kind of answer, does that answer that question okay, Ms. Blake? It's okay, okay, sure. Really good questions. Other questions?
If I just come off mute briefly and ask another one, please. Oriel Blake here, mother of Ella Blake. With light of things that have changed in the last year, obviously understanding things are subject to change and at short notice, is there a heavy subscription for the term beginning in August 2020? Would it be likely that there would be a kind of competition between the students on a first come first served as to when they might be allowed to start the program? Speaking on the behalf of Ella and another mother or two I know who's with us today, I would like to see starting, you know, in August, September would be a perfect time. And would it be possible to give a heads up if you think that might not be possible?
Sure. So our goal is to return to, you know, some form of on-campus being, right, as soon as we possibly can. The goal, of course, is August, but as we know, things are changing on the day-to-day, on the minute-to-minute. So we are working as a school just to make sure that we have plans in place to facilitate all kinds of scenarios as safely as possible. So that's, I know, kind of a back and forth type of answer about that piece, but our goal, of course, is to all be here together. Now, as far as the question around how many spots are there for the fall and how to get kind of a jump and that kind of thing, we have seen a huge spike in interest in our toddler program, which is wonderful. It's a testament to the wonderful work that Ms. Stocking, Ms. Woods, Ms. Serrano, and our other colleagues are doing here. That's incredible, lots of interest. So lots of interest means lots of applications. And basically, you know, as you complete your application, that puts you in queue for a space. So people who have completed applications, and there are people who have completed their applications many weeks before this very meeting, are like in queue for what we would call the fall. So the best thing you can do right now is to work through the application, get all of, you know, your documents and your forms submitted, so that you're ready to go when the space is made available. I know we have quite a few students that were turning 3 towards the end of the school year, meaning that they would be starting in our primary program, the next level, in August. So that frees a lot of space. But to my earlier point, we also have a lot of applications. So without kind of getting into a specific numbers game, because the landscape of enrollment constantly changes, COVID or not, I will simply say the best advice is to submit a completed application just as soon as you possibly can. And I hope that's helpful. And if anyone else has any other comments or insight around that, please feel free.
Kara, sorry, just the other half of the Blakes, Phil Blake here. Sorry, when you say the applications, so just Orioles has asked the same question. When you say a lodged application sort of puts you in the queue, is that deemed a completed application? So you need the entirety of the application submitted, including a vaccination.
And I'm seeing the note here, Ms. Blake, about vaccination. So when I'm talking about completed, this would be like your general enrollment form, parent perspective questionnaire. There's another enrollment questionnaire. There's information around you know, emergency pickups, medication preferences, things like that. The tour observation piece, which we are flexibly working with you in a virtual setting, right, to get those things taken care of. Now, per Department of Health, or Department of Human Services rather, we are not required to ask you to have a universal health form or vaccine and immunization information on file until a student's start date in the classroom. So thank you for asking this specifically. Those two pieces of information, there is a lot more flexibility in timing. So if I didn't see a health form in this moment, that wouldn't mean that I would consider your application incomplete. But those other documents, the things that you can type and complete, right away in the system itself, are the key components that I'm talking about. Is that okay? Awesome. I see here a question from Ms. Foster. What is the mealtime and nap time schedule, and should we have him on that schedule before starting school?
Ms. Abicook, I think I can answer that question for Ms. Foster. Our schedule is we do have our work cycle. We call it work cycle when all the kids are doing their activities in the classroom, when we do our presentation with them and for them. That would be 8 to 10, and we go to playtime from 10 to 11. And 11 is when we come back to the classroom and get ready for lunchtime. So from 11 to about 11:30, it depends on how long the children eat their lunch. Then we do our toileting and preparation for nap time. So we have some kids that are undercut, like from 11:45 until like they fall asleep. Usually we have all the kids napping by noon until about 2:02. Some nap less than that, some do more than that. But yes, we do suggest usually when we have the interview with the child or the visit with your toddler, we do suggest that you get onto that schedule so it's easier for them when they transition. Because some children come in and they are napping at 9 a.m. while we're having our activities. So that is a great question to ask. And yes, we do suggest that if you can get your toddlers in that schedule, it's just much better for them during their transition.
And Ms. Stocking, if you could just clarify around snack time in that piece. There is just a clarifying question here about the children eating from 8 to 11. So if you could restate that one piece.
Yes, sorry. That I was just talking about lunchtime. We actually do a part of our work cycle is also food preparation, where the kids prepare their snack. Most of the time they do individual peeling of eggs, making their own orange juice, cutting their own cheese and making their own cheese and crackers. So they are eating throughout the day, but we also have a community morning snack where we all sit together on at the table. We sing our morning snack song, and we have snack that Ms. Serrano and I prepared to share. So the older children most of the time are able to help us do that because they're already learning how to cut their watermelons and how to slice their apples. So yes, we do have morning snack. And sometimes by 8 o'clock, your children are already hungry. So most of them are like opening our fridge and may I please have some apples or may I please have some orange.
Thank you. Another question that we have is, what is the discipline style for the younger kids?
Ms. Woods, would you like to?
An interesting question. Thank you, Ms. Stocking. Discipline is a strong word. We hope that we don't have to use it. Our program embraces the philosophy that you don't hurt anyone or hurt anything or yourself within our classroom environment. And that really applies through our Montessori part of our school. Of course, with toddlers who are still very small, still very young, still learning the world, sometimes things happen that somebody might want something from someone else. Of course, they don't know how to ask. They say, please, may I have a turn? And they will use their hands, or their body may kick or hit or something like that. Perhaps they've seen that done somewhere else by someone else and they're trying it out. But most often children learn how to get on well with each other if they, through examples from the older children in the class, and also how the guides, the teachers and their assistants behave in the classroom. It's rarely a problem, but having said that, every now and then it does happen that we may have someone who is enjoying using their teeth on other people. And when they don't get their way, they will use their teeth. Now we talk to the children about your teeth are used for chewing your food and not for biting people. We will also watch that child to make sure, as far as we can, because we cannot see everything, that that doesn't happen again. And we will let the parent know of the child who's biting and the parent of the child who was bitten exactly what happened. Very often, all it takes to guide a child in the right direction is maybe just talk to them and say, oh, you know, I know that you really want that puzzle or that book, but right now, Johnny is reading it. It's his turn. Let's go find something else and we'll do that. And when he's finished, he can give it to you. And you talk to Johnny, can you give it to Jack when you've finished? Even though these children may be so young that they don't understand exactly what you're saying, you are still giving the example. And then if the child is unable to handle that, very often what I do in the classroom is, let's go sit down and watch the other children. And I'll just have the child on my lap, give them a hug and talk to them. Look at so-and-so sitting there. Oh, somebody else is coming up to the table, and did you see how they waited? And the other child was offered them a chair or something. Just talk them through things, let the child calm down. Sometimes we have children who have temper tantrums, and temper tantrums are usually, or nearly always, caused by a child becoming out of sorts because things aren't going in the way they want, whether it's something they should have and can't have, or they're not allowed to have and can't deal with not having it. We will calmly give the child some space. We'll talk to the other children about this child being sad about whatever it was that caused the event, and we will make sure the child does not get hurt, and then we will comfort the child after the tantrum is over. It's a long topic. I could give you many examples, but we don't do timeouts. We might have a child sit down for a bit if they've been particularly out of hand in a chair. Again, that would be with an older child. But other than that, pretty much we don't really have a problem. Sometimes we do, but on the whole, I would say not. Would you agree with me, Ms. Stocking? They're too busy. They're too busy to make for discipline problems. Oh, Ms. McCabe, would you like to add to that? It's very hard. I can't see anyone's faces because my screen is totally blank. Hello?
I was just going to agree with you, Ms. Woods.
I thought you couldn't hear me and I'd spoken
No,
to the air.
that was I think that was helpful. Hopefully for Ms. Zachary, that was helpful. And we always have to remember that the little toddlers are at this developmental stage. They are not purposefully trying to be a bad kid. They are not purposefully trying to hurt someone. That's why they bit somebody. They are learning their emotions. They are learning to assert their independence. And usually that's where it starts in the classroom, is I want to water the plants, but so-and-so are using it, so I am not gonna be happy, and I may do something that is destructive in the classroom, or I might hurt someone. So explaining to them, treating them as if you understand where they're coming from is very helpful, and we find that very effective in the classroom. And like Ms. Wood said, using language to help them express what they are going through. If someone wants to water the plants, and say, let's wait. If you want, we can wait on together and wait for crews to finish watering the plants, and you can have a turn. And yes, there would be times that they will say, I want it now, and you just have to be firm and consistent with everything that we do. We always say consistency is key. If they knew tomorrow we're gonna be sitting the same way, we're gonna be waiting for someone to finish, then they'll realize, they'll figure it out. The observation is big for this age group, and they'll realize, oh, I can have a turn, and I will have a turn if I'm patient and I sit here. And you will be surprised that how the children learn this during their time, during their development, their time in the classroom, and even at home. So hopefully that's helpful.
Thank you both. We've got 2 more questions. One from Ms. Williams. Are the kids automatically transferred up once they turn 3? So yes, when students turn 3, they transition out of the La Casa, out of the toddler environment, and up into primary. And this happens throughout the calendar year because it happens really in line with their actual 3rd birthday. So that's really the beauty of this level, is that we are really constantly able to welcome new children into the environment as other students phase up. So I hope that answers that one for you, Ms. Williams. And then for Ms. Foster, she says, do you split the children up between the 2 sections based on available spaces or another way? So, you know, within the Montessori environment, we do really like to balance the classrooms as much as we can as possible, you know, with female students, with male students, or even, you know, in the ranges of their ages or grade levels. But sometimes that's not always possible, right? So, you know, for example, if we wouldn't deny someone a space because that means that now we have, you know, 6 of one type of student versus 4 of another type of student. But we do, and I'm saying we, but a lot of times, you know, it's Ms. Stocking and Ms. Woods that really plan a lot around the balance, maintaining that as much as we can. So it's kind of a combination of both things. If we have the availability and someone is ready, we will welcome them into the environment, but we try to be strategic with that as well. Is that helpful? Okay, okay, cool, no worries, no worries. All right, let me see, oh, great.
Yes, thank you.
Sure, sure. From Ms. Cope, I may, let's see, are there only 2 classes? Okay, so yes, currently we only have 2 toddler classrooms. And at this time we have them maxed at 10 students per classroom, with the 2 adults in the room, the lead teacher guide and the assistant. Really awesome questions. Other questions?
I have another question. Sorry, I'm asking too many questions. Is there anything else along the lines of the NAP schedule that you would like for us to work on between now and when they might matriculate, to have them prepared? For instance, are there any verbal skills? You did talk about their eating skills, but is there anything else as well as the NAP schedule that we should know to prepare them?
I think I would like to mention something here. Please let us know if your child is either being nursed or using a pacifier or a bottle to go to sleep for nap time, if that's one of the things that are needed, because that can sometimes make it difficult at school, because, you know, your child has to make that adjustment of first of all, being in a different place. And I think that's, if possible, depending on the age of your child, it's best to try and do away with those things, or at least have them at a different time of the day than around the school day, the time of the school day between 8 and 3 or 8 and 4, so that your child knows that, you know, they nurse in the morning and nurse in the evening, or they have their bottle and then brush their teeth and go to bed for the night. So we can talk to you individually about that if you need help working through that. But it's important for us to know, for instance, pacifiers. Some years we've had quite some situations with pacifiers when children have had absolute meltdowns because they haven't been able to access their pacifier. We do not encourage the use of them in our classrooms because they stop your child from learning to talk, and they become very dependent on them. The other children get jealous. There's lots of things. So we really do encourage you to either keep that for at home, or at the very least, try to say that they cannot have them, you know, while they're at school. I mean, if we're desperate, we might say we might have it in the backpack, but if we can, we won't get it out. But we can talk to you individually about that and how we can get through it. Ms. Stocking, do you have anything to add to that?
Oh, there you go. I think you covered it, Ms. Woods, that yes, usually we do ask the parents to start transitioning their children to limit, if not stop using the pacifier, because that is in our environment usually can be a distraction to the children. I see Ms. Williams was saying something that when her child is with grandma, he or she doesn't usually doesn't nurse. And yes, that happens, and I think it's more of the routine and more of if they're used to it, that if they're not with the mom, then that's usually what happens in our environment anyway. They know. Once they know, you talk to them, you know, we have a certain routine. It's only morning with mommies and nighttime with mommies, and then at school they know, and it's easier for them to take their naps.
Thank you both. And looks like another follow-up to the napping piece. Is it more successful if kids are out of the crib and used to napping out of the crib or out of the pack and play?
Good question. I found in my classroom that the low beds aren't really a problem. Your child is usually so exhausted, they get onto their bed and they pass out. So it doesn't become an issue. If really by the time your child is walking well, they're ready for a real bed. I would like to recommend that. We can talk more about that. Your children actually, or children that we haven't had yours yet, but they actually behave very well at nap time. Most of them. There is the odd one who gives us a real workout, but they're usually older and they've decided not to be cooperative. That's part of the older child and developing their will. But for the younger child, I would encourage you to think about having a low bed for your child, or even a mattress on the floor, slightly raised up, to help promote your child's independence. Because as your child develops, they become very aware that they're in a place that they can't get out of easily, and they will do their utmost to get out. And just giving your child the independence with, of course, you've taken care of safety with gates or near steps or anything like that, to move out of their bed and go and get a book or a toy and then go lie down again, that is a huge thing for a small child. But if a child is in a crib or in a pack and play and unable to help themselves or meet their own needs, they are going to make a fuss. So that's something also we'll be glad to talk about in more detail. But we haven't actually found it a problem with them still staying in their crib. But we would like to recommend that they go into a low bed or mattress on the floor sooner than you think. They are capable of doing that. Some parents have their newborn babies on a mattress on the floor. And again, that's another conversation. Thank you for your question.
Ms. McCabe?
I was just going to offer that I have two children, 25 and 16, and both of them were on mats on the floor from the day they came home from the hospital. And it was a huge success in my family to offer them that extra amount of freedom within limits, and really allowed me actually extra sleep time in the morning because they had their own space. They could get up and do their own thing without having to fuss about wanting to get out of a crib. So I'm a huge proponent of mattresses on the floor, and happy to talk to any of you individually if you'd like to hear more about that.
Thank you, Ms. McCabe. I too did that, and it does make a huge difference. We really don't need the contraptions that we're often forced to buy or think we should buy. Yeah. Okay.
So we're coming to kind of the end of our time together. The time has really flown. Lots of really wonderful questions and discussions. I just want to recap for everyone next steps. So this session was recorded, so I'll be sending this out to you all. You can, reference anything that was shown or said here, just kind of as you move forward. Of course, if you have any additional questions from us, either from a application perspective or just around, your child, please reach out to us. We're happy to support you as best that we can. I'm also going to be sending out, in addition to this recording, links to some other videos of our team, our teachers providing lessons and other pieces of instruction. So you can kind of get an idea of what that's looking like, especially now under our new model. So those things will be coming your way. But please, in the meantime, reach out with any questions. We're here and happy to help. You can give us a call, find us, via email, and we're happy to support it any way that we can. Are there any final comments or thoughts to share with the whole group? Well, I hope you found this helpful and beneficial. We're kind of in a brave new world now, so we're kind of trying to facilitate this process in a different way. So thanks for your patience and flexibility, and we hope to talk to each of you very soon.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Take care.
You too.
Thank you for coming.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great afternoon. Bye.
Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Miss Williams, oh, she left. No worries.
She had another question.
No, it's all good. I just wanted her to know I saw her message about some change in contact information.
Oh, okay.
Thanks so much, Lilybeth. Good to see you.
And you, Cara, thank you.
Thank you both.
For being such a wonderful meeting host.
No, I'm getting
I don't know what I did to my computer to make the screen go blank, but we'll see. All right. Everyone.
We can see you good, Miss Woods, so that's good. We can still see you.
Oh, you can? Well, I can see the green light on. I can